Welcome back, family, to another episode of So Walking in Wisdom. And on this platform, our focus is on character analysis by looking at the wonderful Nollywood movies. So if you're a Nollywood fan, regardless of where you are on the four corners of the earth, you enjoy Nollywood movies, you think it's quality, you have value, and you look forward to your faves of the likes of Sonia Uche herself, Uche Nancy herself, as well as the many other great producers, actors, etc., you certainly want to stay tuned for Social Walking in Wisdom, and more specifically, where we give our take as a leadership coach on the various movies you love. If you have looked at the movies, and so far to date, as a new platform, we've published more than 16 movies. So this will be the 17th movie that we have watched for the past, I would say, month or two. And we've been watching Nollywood since 2019. And again, it just gets deeper. My love for Nollywood and the value and the faith-based lessons learned is such a beautiful experience indeed. You see, family, as a leadership coach, I integrate biblical plus business principles in my coaching practice as well as business strategy solutions. As a woman of faith, I do believe answers and solutions can indeed be found in a good book. And it's more than just mere reading, it's about to being hearers and doers of the word, and it's by applying the technique, applying the principles, the ethical principles, the wisdom that's available for everyone to consume. We can then all become better, not only just better individuals, of course, greater fans of Nollywood, while we're leveling up. If you're on your faith walk, whether you're man or woman, if you're on your faith walk, and now that you know better, you desire to do better, totally free of charge, simply by subscribing. So go ahead and subscribe to this platform. Thumbs up, leave your questions or comments, share and fan out, and consider watching your favorite movies. And after looking at your favorite movies, you come back to determine whether a character analysis was done on your favorite movie. And if it has not been done, you could certainly leave me a message and say, can you do a character analysis on this particular movie? Now, there are many movies out there, so I am simply enjoying what I enjoy viewing. And a lot of it is based on love, whether it's the love of family, whether it's romantic love, whether it's the sisterly love, brotherly love, and of course, when there's love, there is frenemies. When there's love, there is hate, there's apathy. So there are so many different levels and flavors to love when we use the word love. And at the bottom line, we're looking at building relationships. And for me, it's all, you might have heard this, networking is your net worth. And whether you're in the line of business or even if you're looking at building your friendships, the reality is, friendships are a little bit more technical when we're looking at the value and the trust factor. But in today's 21st century, it is still very important because in order to do business with someone, you also want to develop a level of trust, and it comes with building your network. So in the event you may not know a person who can perform or execute what you're looking for in your business contract, if you were to go into a network and you respect someone within your network and they were to refer you someone, you would more likely get an opportunity to see what that person is all about and therefore forge a relationship and eventually execute a contract if all goes well. So life is about meeting new people, getting to know them, and deciding whether, not whether they're good or bad, but whether you two can walk together, right? And the scripture, if you're a man or woman of faith, it says, can you walk together if you agree or disagree? And the question is, can two walk together if they don't agree? I believe I'm paraphrasing. So we are called to be equally yoked. And as a leadership coach and a business strategist, I would say equally yoked in not just your personal relationships, but professional relationships as well. So if you have a business and you're an ethical business person, you certainly want a partner that you're contracting with to be ethical minimum as well. If the person has unethical practices and they continue to cut corners whichever way, it will pull you down. So you want to be mindful of that. However, today we're talking about a new movie. I am late to the party, but we're going to look at Sonia Uche's latest movie, or one of her latest movie on Uche Nancy Update, and that is all we have. So my platform is not about giving movie reviews, but this was a 10 and a 10. So maybe a 20 out of 10. It was an excellent movie, an excellent family movie looking at um, personal struggles and misguided intentions and how it can affect those around us, right? Whatever we do, since it's a level of 6 degree of separation, we may know someone, but understand with every person we know intimately, our actions have a level of domino effect. My apologies, family. And with that level of domino effect, note that our actions can affect others. So this movie, I believe it really explores the complexities of family dynamics, the dangers of blind faith, and the importance of open communication and personal growth. And through the interwoven relationships that we see between a parent, a mother, and her two children, between a brother and a sister, between two business partners that could possibly be two bromances, right? Two men coming together and being good friends. And then you have the romantic relationships between Sonia Uche's character, who's Becky, and then Brian Okoye plays her brother in that movie, and he goes by the character Daniel. And then, of course, we have the handsome Victory Michael, who plays the good old boy Jack in this movie. A very good character, a man of integrity. And I must say, again, kudos for goes out to Uche Nancy for really seeing the talent, the raw talent in this young man. Within the last year or year and a half, I believe he has really. He's like a star that is really beginning to shine. And from the get, you can see the raw talent. So kudos for her for seeing that raw talent in Victory Michael. He plays his roles well, very believable, whether he's a drug addict, whether he is a criminal and a frenemy, whether he is the bad guy or good guy, or that's the romantic. And he can be soft and loving. It totally comes across the screen. So kudos to, again, Victory Michael and Uche Nancy for having a very keen eye indeed. So in today's movie, today character analysis, indeed, the movie of choice is Uche Nancy Update, all we have. And if you have not subscribed to Uche Nancy latest YouTube platform, which is Uche Nancy Update Television, please be sure to do so as well. And if, of course, you have not subscribed to Sonia Uche Television, she's at 944,000 subscribers. We are certainly on our way to having 1 million K strong, so continue to fan out and be sure to support Sonia Uche. Again, my platform, Social Walking in Wisdom, was totally inspired by Sonia Uche's mannerisms, the way she conducts herself, at least in social media, a landscape. Her digital footprint is that displays character, wisdom indeed, and appears very kind. So I don't know her personally, but if this is who she is in person, I say well done, Mama Uche Nancy, indeed. And of course, as an adult, you have an opportunity to take those great skills from your parents or not. And she has certainly acquired a lot of those skills. So yes, if you have not subscribed to her platform, please be sure to do so. And of course, this is a new platform with only 19 subscribers. If you enjoy Level Up and you desire you want to improve professionally, personally, we all have flaws, we all have character flaws, but if you want to improve in the privacy of your own home, it's simply about breaking the bad habit and doing the work So you can switch out the bad habit with a good habit, looking at, if you're a man or woman of faith, the fruit of the spirit, understanding love, joy, peace, meekness, humility, self-control, long-suffering, that is patience, that all comes with it. And if you were to practice those virtues day in and day out, you'll be well on your way. And these movies, if you have not seen the character analysis of these 16 videos, we certainly encourage you to take a look and do so. And again, if you would like us to do a character analysis of your favorite movie, please be sure to leave it in the content section, in the comment section. There are many older movies that Sonia Uche, Chinibebe, and others started that I would love to do a character analysis. So if I have the time, I would try to double up on old and new. But for the meantime, this is what we have. So we encourage you to please do so. So now we're going to get into today's character analysis. And again, for me, it's all about relationships building. And I've mentioned before on this platform that the 21st century, in order to replace that level of AI, it's important that we really hone in on building relational currency. When I say relational, I'm not talking about real romantic relationships. I'm referencing building trust, forging friendships, not frenemies, true friendships that you can conduct business with, that someone's word is your bond. Let your yes be a yes and a no be a no. And as a result of that, based on your experience, one good experience lends to another. The only way to do it is to start, but it is so very crucial that we build relational currency. And for me, this movie is all about the different types of relationships and how they come together. So first, let's consider the relationship, brother and sister relationship between the characters Daniel and Becky. Daniel played and portrayed by Brian Okoye, and Becky played by the incomparable Sonia Uche. So Daniel in this particular movie acts as a self-appointed guardian to his sister, driven by a misguided sense of duty to protect her. And his actions are rooted really in even though he thought it was love, it was really selfishness, as he was the reason for Becky's unsuccessful relationships, blocking her blessings, and from her finding her own happiness and independence, and really was manipulative and controlling, wrapped in love, which is not very healthy, indeed. And Becky is initially passive, but her character shows her transformation from a submissive sister to a woman who stands up for herself and calls out her brother's deceit. She indeed values what she learned from her father, her late father, which is integrity and truth, as evidenced by her comparison of Daniel's actions to their late father's values. So the relationship dynamic, their relationship is strained because of Daniel's controlling, manipulative behavior as her brother, and maybe his insecurity and not wanting to grow and wanting to keep the family together as is, but it's very hard to do so. And the dynamic shifts from one of obedience to one of confrontation really is leading to a necessary conversation about trusting your sister's decision, and of course, boundaries. When you become adults, regardless of who's first and who is second, or who is first and who is last in the sibling relationship, it's important to know that as an adult, there indeed are boundaries. And it's important to note we could use the scripture coming from Ecclesiastes 4:9. If we consider relationships in and of itself, two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. right? And that's the whole goal. We know as women, our role is to be the helpmate of the man. Of course, it's the right man, and not every woman is good for every man. So you have to find your man. You have to find your Yah or God ordained man for you. And there's nothing like a praying mom that can do that. That's one area I was also love in this movie. The mother eventually saw, even though she was a little bit of a fanatic because of her husband's early passing and they were very close, people grieve in different ways. And instead of turning to other vice like substance abuse or um, alcoholism, she turned into religiosity. And in this particular case, it was really false religiosity that she fell prey to, and she was comforted by a false prophet. But she was still a woman of faith, and eventually she was able to be brought back um, to reality that indeed her husband is lost and that a false prophet was preying upon her. And when I say praying, I mean Preying, not Praying. He was indeed a false prophet. And during this time, we should be mindful, men and women of faith, that there are a lot of false prophets. So we need to be mindful of that. They're like ravenous wolves. We need to be mindful of false prophets. So when we are going through our tough times, be sure to stay prayed up and not run into false prophets because again they are indeed like ravenous wolves. Having said that, again, the prayers of a praying mom is absolutely wonderful and divine indeed, and we saw the mother come to light at the end when she realized a success story for both her children. She released them in the name of Jesus Christ. She blessed them with abundance and love and safety and pray that her children will not experience the grief that she experienced indeed. Now let's talk about the relationship between Becky and Jack, her prospective spouse, Jack, played by Victor Michael. So, Jack is the epitome of a committed and patient partner. He's persistent through his feelings for Becky and demonstrated his love through action rather than just words. So, even though he was respectful and went to Becky's brother Jack, um, Becky's brother Daniel, my apologies, played by Brian Okoye, when Daniel did not respond to Jack. Jack, the man that he is. And being a man is not just based on your physical stance and strength and muscles, but it's based on your internal strength. And he knew what he felt when he first saw Becky again after so many years. So he was indeed persistent in making sure, and he did the right thing. He was persistent in making sure that he heard whether Becky liked him or not through the horse's mouth. I'm not going to give you the details. I want you to watch the movie indeed. So he was very caring, resourceful individual, a man of his word. Whatever he promised, he delivered, and that's the type of man we should all have. Absolutely, indeed. And Becky's mother showed a lot of gratitude for Jack's strength and, of course, character. And the relationship dynamic here is built on the foundation of genuine affection, mutual respect, and trust. Um, and despite the obstacles by Becky's brother Daniel, Jack's unwavering commitment proves his sincerity and certainly was on his way to earning Becky's trust indeed. And it's important when we speak about relationships, it's important to note that even with the two men or the mother and her two children, Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpeneth iron. So man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. is so important. Friendship is so important, whether it's a bromance, whether it's two sister friends, or whether it's friendship between siblings, right? And even as adults, it's a friendship between a parent and his or her kids. It's important that we know that iron sharpens iron. So a man sharpening the countenance of his friends. When you hold your friends accountable, right? Whether it's a family friend or friend, when you hold them accountable, when you love them enough to tell them the truth and not back down, right? But still be respectful. And it's not so much sometimes what you say, but how you deliver it, then you certainly can be in a position to not only assist that person, whether the person wants it or not, but it helps sharpen that person. Eventually, the person will come around. Now, let's also now look again, going back to the mother's relationship between her children, her adult children. The mother's grief certainly profoundly impacted the family in a different way. And again, she used religiosity to get through her grief. And her spiritual, quote unquote, addiction to religion and her reliance on the false prophet really created a void that Daniel tries to fill in his own misguided way. Ultimately, when the mother was on her way to redemption and healing, um, then the family itself was able to come together because the mother, in the absence of the father, is still the matriarch, and that parent still has a core role in that of the adult child, um, especially if the person is not married, right? I wouldn't recommend as a parent um, directing your child step by step, but you certainly still have a very important, essential role in the child's life. And the relationship dynamic here is that the family is in a state of arrested development because of the grief. And I believe Daniel's overbearing nature might be as a result of the mother's compensating the lack of having a husband there or the absence of a spouse with religion. She's filling a hole and she's using religion to do so. And equally as damaging on an emotional, mental level, even though physically, if it was substance abuse, that would have then also have a physiological effect on her. But it's important that whatever hurt and grief you're going through, and in the movie, Becky said, everyone grieves differently and there's no limit to grief, but you certainly must check in. If after a certain period of time, more than 5 years, 10 years, you're still grieving, then it's even much deeper. And certainly professional help is recommended. So the lessons and key takeaways here. Misguided intentions can cause harm, regardless of how good you thought your intention was. If it is misguided and it's not based on love and truth and honesty, then indeed it can cause harm. So Daniel's action, though he rationalized them as protective, they were selfish and harmful, right? And his sister, called him out. So it's important that as a leader, you must understand that your intentions, since it's all about self-leadership, do not excuse the negative impact of your actions. True leadership involves empowering others, not manipulating them, neither controlling them. Then we have to consider vulnerability and the need for support. The mother's story shows the importance of seeking professional help for grief rather than relying on unhelpful crutches. And Jack's action of referring a therapist demonstrates that a true friend, again, iron sharpening iron, but a true friend or leader provides practical and helpful solutions, not just empty words. It takes courage to admit you need help and to offer it to others as well. So we say kudos to the mom for understanding that help is needed. And then we have to consider integrity above all. Becky's reference to her father highlights the importance of integrity, trust. It's still a thing in the 21st century. A person of integrity is honest, reliable, and consistent in their values. We use that word consistently on this platform. This trait is essential for building trust, relational currencies, my apologies, in any relationship, whether personal or professional. Then we understand that communication is critical. The conflict between Daniel and Becky stemmed from a lack of open, honest communication. Daniel made assumptions and took control without asking Becky her thoughts, while Becky silently suffered. And you have to look at the movie to see what actually transpired. And the resolution came only after, to a certain extent, they were forced to have a conversation one way or the other. And then ultimately, good intentions triumph, right? What's in the dark comes to light. And if you have good intentions, even if someone is trying to dim your light, you cannot dim true light. So Jack's good intentions, played by Victor Michael, and genuine character set him apart. He didn't just want something for himself. He wanted to help the entire family. And he started off with the matriarch. And he was honest about his status and his feelings without playing games for Becky. This is a core trait of a selfless leader, someone who seeks to uplift and improve the lives of those around them. And this concludes another episode of Social Walking Wisdom, where we unpacked Nollywood movies presented by these stellar actors and actresses, executive producers, directors, the whole 9 yards. And today, the movie of All We Have, beautiful movie, beautiful praise of the mom. Please, if you have not seen this movie, please go out and see the movie. 5 days, it's at 273,000 K. There's a message for everyone in this movie. So please go out and support. And again, if you're interested in having me do a character analysis of one of your favorite Nollywood movies, just be sure to respond to one of these videos in the comment section, and we'll certainly get back to you. Family, that's it for another episode of Social Walking in Wisdom. And today we look at the movie All We Have, starring Sonia Uche, Victor Michael, and Brian Okoye. Produced by Mama Uche herself, Uche Nancy Update Television. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, yes, shalom.